Welcome to our executive interview series at IT Mod Talks presented by FedScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're here with Kurt Steege, Chief Technology Officer at ThunderCat Technology. Kurt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Wyatt. Great to be here.
Let me start by asking, where have you seen the federal government make significant headway, let's say over the past year, to modernize agency IT systems?
One of the areas, thanks for the question, Wyatt. One of the areas that I find extremely interesting, and it kind of added to it last week, sitting in the NVIDIA GTC, was in the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Those technologies are really driving forward the government forward in a lot of areas, depending on which direction you want to go. What I've seen is most folks think of it in the science-based world, like whether you're talking about bioinformatics, weather forecasting, and areas like that. But one of the areas that I found really interesting, specifically in one of the areas sessions that were being discussed, was around the area of autonomy. Whether it's in tip of the spear type things within the Department of Defense, vehicle mobility, and bringing together the idea of this human and autonomous vehicle interaction. But then it kind of bled into other areas where folks were using autonomy to do things like creating different types of fuels for these things, and then also taking that and moving it over into the manufacturing world and dealing with robotics, dealing with all these ideas around how the supply chain can be modernized and moved in all of those spaces.
Next, Kurt, I'd like to ask, what examples have you seen recently where IT modernization has significantly improved the customer experience for American citizens over the past year or so?
Thanks. Where I've seen this happen, where I've seen it work really well in a lot of different areas, we talked about a little bit about the COVID response world. There's been a lot of work that was done in terms of just development of vaccines that were important work that was done using IT modernization, using AI for that as well, and simulation. There's also a lot of things in the response. So when folks were trying to get funds back from the federal government, that could be where they were using robotic process automation in order to make sure things were filled out correctly and making things happen more quickly in terms of receiving those funds. The same sorts of technologies were also being used by the IRS in order right now to get your funds back from taxes, collecting taxes and paying refunds as well. One of the other areas that I found that sort of quasi world between the government and citizens and government as well was around in the Veterans Affairs Group, which has developed an entire AI office right there, the AI initiative office, where they're actually using AI and using the modernization that was out there in order to sort of match up trials with veterans. And increasing patient care in that space. Like everybody else, I mean, we talked about a little bit about the pandemic was there, but most folks had to deal with it in terms of Zoom meetings, like we're doing right now. That kind of thing is also an area where modernization is expanding tremendously. We're working currently, and ThunderCat specifically is working currently with a large federal agency to update all of the AV content and collaboration world. If I'm getting this correct, over 1,500 different conference rooms across an entire agency.
That's impressive, and a good example of where IT modernization is really kind of trickling down into the day-to-day workloads of individuals at agencies as well. Well, Kurt Steege, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us here at IT Mod Talks and sharing some of your insights and observations about where IT modernization is really making a difference in government. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Wyatt. Glad to be here.